Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Travis Told You. I'm your host, Travis Snell. Yes, I am here. I don't think impromptu. I just think I don't announce them really ahead of time. They just gotta come. I guess I did kind of announce this one, right? Because they do and stuff. But yeah, no, we're gonna be doing some good old talking about the Academy Awards. I'm gonna talk at least about Dune because I just saw it. God, it's already just been a Monday now. It feels like that was ages ago, but saw it this week. Also, it was on the review, so big thank you to people. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Gonna do a little wrestling catch up. Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff. So, as I've said before, I think next week, I think this week we're gonna do our mini town hall because what we did is we do our survey every year, and then when we get together, we read some of the results, go over things that we not agree with or disagree, but just go, okay, that's something that we thought as well, or that's something like, okay, we haven't thought about that. Let's see what the outcry is for certain things. So we're gonna have like a mini one. I don't think there's too many like changes abroad, but I gotta change that with my camera. There's like a battery sticking out. Don't like that. It's gonna bug me the whole time. But yeah, so look out for that. That'll be fun. Get some updates on the shows and everything. I will announce a new show here in a second up top, even though it doesn't make sense. I'll reiterate it with the town hall, but it has something more to do with me and stuff, so that's why I don't need to take time away from them. But yeah, the next 2 weeks are going to be really fun. We got X-Men coming out, tons of X-Men casts and everything. We're gonna have a good time. We're doing fan casts. We did that X-Men Legends one, lots of good stuff X-Men related. X-Men 97, that's gonna be fun. Ghostbusters is about to be out. Outlast Trials, that's not happening this week, but it's happening in a couple weeks. Let's see. Yes, good evening, Chris Evans. It's good to see you, sir. Hope you had a good night there. Let's see. Roxanne, can you feel the mana on his Instagram promos that's stuck in my head? I can't stop saying that. I get what you mean. Just the way he said, and can you feel the mana like that? Rock's great. He's great with that inflections. It was so weird. We're going to get into it, but man, seeing The Rock and John Cena at the Oscars for something separate. It's not like it's like for Iron Claw. Wouldn't it be like if it got nominated for Best Picture? Wouldn't it be great if they introduced the film or some shit? No, it's just they happen to be there, and good for John Cena, man. He, whatever you think about the skit, like he nailed it, and that's like going to be, aside from the wins, if you're talking about moments, that's probably gonna okay. I'm just Ken. That is the moment. Everyone is just, agreed. But then after that, I feel like John Cena might take the cake. He did that really well. And just seeing them together, there's a shot of them shaking hands, man. We've come a long way from 2012. Fucking John Cena calling The Rock out, unscripted, not supposed to the certain way, talking about his notes and how The Rock was pissed. I remember that, man. Because I'll say I was going to WrestleMania at that time, and it's in the clip. But I remember when we were watching it live, and Cena said that thing, and The Rock cocked his head, and that's just like, they're shooting. It's not good. And you can go back to The Rock and John Cena for a while legitimately did not care for one another. I think more just one-sided. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Oscars in a second. But yeah, can you feel the mana this week? Adrenochrome, it is about to be out. I am tomorrow going to do the final what I hope to be the final export. I'm sure I'll do it, watch, be like, this is a fucking error, but no, I think it is all good to go, but I mean, like, in the sense of it's just export, hopefully there's no fucking issues. I exported a version that's almost identical. There's just a few sound effects I had to add and everything that I just like whether weren't crisp or just literally needed. Like there's like a whistle in the film. It's like, okay, I kept putting that off, and all I had to do tonight is just sit down, record a whistle, and that's it, right? So there is a thing, tested it, what's going to happen. We'll talk about this throughout the week, but yeah, that's coming out Friday. It's going to drop Friday at midnight, and you're going to have all the way till Monday PST 11:59, and then it's going to be locked away for at least a year, maybe longer. Because like I said before, I keep iterating this because people go, "Oh, why?" Like it's out. It's like, but then it's not. Like I know it sounds like confusing, but it's just, as we've said before, we're just doing this because legitimately each and every one of you are the reason this film happened. Your support, whether it's on Patreon especially, or listen to the podcast, pay for the things like the camera and like Premiere Pro for me to edit. Like this is because of you guys. So I don't know if it's gonna be like that every time. We're gonna see how this goes with the first one, but at least with this film, we want everyone that wants to see it. If you don't care, if you're like, hey, I just listen to your podcast, or like I'll catch it down the line, it'll be available. But if you're curious, and we would very much like the support, I think it's just gonna be like $5 USD, something like that. Maybe there'll be maybe a $6. I got to find out like how it works Canadian to American. So I haven't announced the price because I have to wait to the full upload. It's not based on that. I just have to find out like conversion from American to Canada and then what Patreon cuts. But yeah, that's what Patreon's going to do. Or it's going to be on Patreon. It's going to be a rental. And yeah, we're really excited. I'm excited just to have it kind of out and done and off my back because I did this as a mistake, not the movie, but the date when we announced January, and then also we did March, and it was fine because I hit it. But in the future, I'll never announce a date until it's like done because I really thought I was going to be done January. I told the story of many things gone the way, and that's why it's like, well, I couldn't just say no date. I had to say at least Q1 because I felt bad. So in the future, I'll never put a date on it until we're completely done. So, but yeah, it's out this Friday. I hope everyone enjoys it. There's going to be like an anonymous survey thing. So we want your honest opinion. I'm not going to look at them at all till like after to like, cause the film's done. So it's not going to change. They're going to come in and I'm going to wait till like it's the Friday to the Monday, give a buffer. Cause I'm sure there'll be some negative stuff there. And not that I can't take negative stuff, but I just want to go like all in one, absorb it. But yeah, we want like the actual things. Obviously, like if it's stuff about budgetary stuff, put that in there, please. But there's only so much we can do, right? Whether it's the camera or the audio, like the audio, I think is actually not too bad. But like if there's anything in particular, it's like, well, this is what we got. It's like a budget under $1,000, right? Like the most expensive stuff's the camera, the gear. But yeah, we want honest thoughts, just even in like little things. You know, if you think it's great, that's fantastic. But whatever it may be, it always helps because either I could see and be like, oh, in the future, I would explain why I did this. Or I could look and go, oh, I didn't see it this way. You know, that's happened already. When I show people the edit and go, hey, what about this way? I go, oh, yeah, that might be a bit better. And there's some that I did that I went, oh, maybe not. Like, I still like to prefer this way and everything. But yeah, wanted to do that because we're back in we're supposed to film some more in March. But I think in April, we're going to film because March is just really busy right now. But yeah, we're working on our third film right now. It sounds kind of bold to do that, but again, as we've said before, we filmed 2 back-to-back because before Taylor's gonna have his baby, so it's like, well, let's have them while it's there. So as we go into the third one, we'll take all the critiques, but it'll be anonymous, so say whatever. If you think it's absolute shit and it's trash and you think I shouldn't get direct again, I guess you can tell me that, but I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'll probably just keep going, you know? And especially nights like tonight with the Oscar, so inspiring to people. I'm not saying to win an Oscar, I'm just saying like it's one of those nights where it's like, and that's where for me to start off, lots of stuff. But like I said, Adrenochrome out this Friday. Please support. We'd appreciate it. And even if you can't pay for it, don't want to, just send a retweet, get it out there. We're going to be, you know, very likely we're going to go to festivals, but very likely we will be releasing this thing this time and the full version all by ourselves. We'll be our own distributor. So we are an independent podcasting and film production company now. So we're doing it all ourselves. So anything helps. And literally what we make off this will go into the next few films, like whether it is getting to festivals or budgetary things, right? Just like today, the guy that's cinematographer 21 for Oppenheimer's like, yeah, you know, film's great, but you really need to be using film. And I saw people be like, yeah, fuck everybody. Like, you should need to be using film. It's like, yeah, I'd like to. But, like, it can be quite costly at times, right? But that's why Oscars. Let's start with the Oscars. Quickly, what I'm going to say is I saw S-Bubs in the chat there. I'm going to talk about wrestling at the end, and I will announce this on the town hall. But this might be the last Travis told you with a wrestling segment because I am going to do a monthly wrestling show with, there's your mini drum roll. Probably can't even hear it. Is that drum roll? That just sounds like the clapping in Oppenheimer when they're like, the Germans, right? We should have used it on them. And they're like, yeah. No, we're going to do it monthly. I don't think I told them this, but I've always had this working title. I don't have a logo for it yet. So I need to talk to Taylor, but I'm starting with a few fellows, The Gimmick. The Gimmick is going to be a monthly wrestling show. Got to get the G in. I just like the word gimmick. Me and Emily use it in real life all the time of like, oh, look at that person's gimmick. But it's just like, it's not even talking about wrestling, just like real life scenarios, right? But Sam, let's go. Yeah. So what's going to happen though is it's going to just be monthly for now. I am very busy with the podcasting, with life, and with the filming because that's like another addendum that's just like, it's a great thing to do, but it takes a lot of time. This is because legitimately we did the survey and the results are like 50-50. It is either I have no interest, I'm not going to listen at all, or just, like wrestling's fun. Like, I'd like to get in wrestling, but I don't know if I could. Yeah, like it's 50-50 of no interest, not going to happen, or you should really do it. Because I had that the last time. That's where about a year ago, I think so, a year and a half ago, whenever, I was going to do it with David and someone else. And then, oh, there you go. First co-host is David. David, if you've listened to him on Marvel Alliance, he's good friends with Brent. They work together, but he's on our Survivor Series watch along. Me and him have got to know each other the past couple of years because it's like Brent's like, oh, he's a wrestling guy like you, and then we talk, a lot. And David's just a really good guy. I think he's going to be a good barometer, and for other reason, who the third host is going to be. But we're going to do it for a month because, like I said, it was no interest at all, or you should really fucking do it. And that was a couple of years ago. There was people that, when I did Travis Told You, it was like, hey, I like that. I like the wrestling. You should do a full wrestling show. I can't consciously be like, I'm going to do this weekly, even bi-weekly, right? So what's going to happen is myself, David, and Mr. Can You Feel the Man at S Bobs is going to be in there. As Emily said, my son I'll never have, more choreographed combat content never hurts. Yeah. So that's what's going to happen. It's me, David, S-Bubs. I like being 3 because if we do ever decide to grow it, because I don't know, but S-Bubs and David we talk in our Discord and they've done one thing together. I'm not saying they're going to get along, I'm saying what the chemistry's like, everything like that. If there's ever a situation where my schedule opens up and we could go bi-weekly, weekly, even if something like maybe down the road, if things, and these are not promises because I haven't talked to them yet, but if it's like a situation where like it was weekly and S-Bubs and David were hosting and I can only be bi-weekly or a month, this is just like the tester of it. We're going to do, because at the end of the day, if it's just a month, then it's just us talking wrestling. And me and David have always talked wrestling. And then S-Bubs, it's great because that's been the thing in the Discord. Everyone's like a fan of seeing his journey, right? It's like, it's cool because that's where it is, where me and David are both like long-term vets, and then you got S-Bubs. And I remember talking about with Emily, because S-Bubs likes Grayson Wall's finisher, and I was like, I think this is fucking so stupid. And she's like, that's why you guys that'd be a good podcasting scenario, right? Like, yeah, like we have similar opinions but very different likes, and David could be a good middleman there. So we're gonna do month. We're doing a draft, which is funny. S-Bubs had hit me up. He's like, oh, you should do this. We should do this. Even before S-Bubs, you hit me up. Me, my sister, and Emily used to do that. But I always intended, if I had a wrestling podcast, there's always going to be a draft. So when he hit me up, it's like, okay, it's kind of fave. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to do it every month. I think the first episode's going to be, it's like March 24th we're recording. It's going to be before Mania. And we're going to do a draft. We're going to do our predictions. And then we'll probably do one kind of right after Mania. I think we're going to do... My hope is if I talk to guys like Saturday, Sunday, and the Raw after, then maybe the Tuesday do our podcast so we have all of it, because they're on Eastern. So I don't want to be like, hey, you want to do our podcast, second wrestling podcast, like 12 a.m. on a Sunday? No, let's have it at different times. Plus, like, as much as I would like to be there live with everybody else, that is the thing, that there's 10,000 wrestling podcasts live at that moment. So it's like, okay, let everyone go to their usual spots, and then maybe a couple days after some recovery, we do it then. And it's just an exciting time. So that's going to be happening starting next month, the gimmick. Myself, David S-Bub's going to be bi-monthly, or not bi-monthly, monthly. And that's where I told them both, like, either it's just us fun, hanging out, having a good time. We're already talking about wrestling. Let's sit down for an hour and a half, 2 hours, have a good time, and we'll see how it goes. And if there's want for or need for it, maybe it'll grow. But as of right now, just do a month, hanging out, catching up. So I will talk wrestling at the end, but that's where to announce with Travis Told You. That's going to be monthly over there. So kind of the way I think it's working right now with my schedule is there'll be a Travis Told You news or topic centric episode, and then the wrestling one. So, okay, let's get into the Oscars. I'm sorry if you're not a wrestling fan, but I want to put that out there in case someone is and they don't get the whole episode. But the Oscars. So yeah, we're talking about John Cena and everything. I thought overall it was a good show. For the winners, I'm happy with them all. I feel like the past few years, because we got Oppenheimer, Everything Ever All at Once. There was Parasite. Because what was the 2001? I just feel like because for a while, let's see, Oscars for 2021. For me, because it was Green Book before. Oh, yeah, Nomadland, yeah. For me, how I felt with the Oscars before. Great news, Genty in the chat. Perfect. The mana is flowing. The mana is flowing. But how, for me, I guess, Oscars, it always felt like it was one for them, one for us. It was like, we're gonna go with something like Green Book, which I still like, but Green Book that everyone hated and was like, it's too Oscar bait. And then the next year, 180 go to Parasite, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna go to Nomadland, and then but Everything Everywhere All. It's like, it felt like it was that board. Now I feel like we're in a couple of years in a row where it's like, it's subjective, right? But it just feels like the fan choice, the people's choice, is getting it for the most part. So the winners, I have no issue. Nomadland didn't hit for me at all. Christopher Evans. Absolutely, man. I I've said this before. Chloe Zhao, very talented filmmaker. She's fucking Oscar winner, right? Great, like I can never call any of her films bad. Her style for me with Eternals. Chris, did you like Eternals? I don't know if we were talking about that. Let me know. But like for me, Eternals, Nomadland, I'm just not a fan of her style. I know there are people that are, but I watched it and I was just so underwhelmed. That didn't get it. Not in the sense of didn't understand the movie, just didn't get like winning all these awards and Francis McDormand winning these awards. It's just like that's what's okay. That feels like the old school type of Oscar pick, right? That's the movie that no one sees, and that's not an addendum, right? I'm not saying everyone has to see it to be a winner, no, because that's BS, right? Even though since, gosh, someone, oh man, S-Bubs, guy in the chair, if you have this. For Oppenheimer, can you look up, or anybody, if you know the answer off the top of your head, what is the highest grossing Oscar winner picture? Because Avatar didn't win Best Picture, and that was whatever, how many billion, right? Oppenheimer's 950. I don't think I've seen anybody talk about that yet of the biggest gross. Maybe there's one I'm missing in particular. But either way, the winners for me, I was a fan of them all. We'll go through them a little bit here in a second. The show overall, I think it was actually one of the better Oscars. Kimmel as a host, you know what you're going to get. I feel like it's tough because I feel like he's a safe choice. I'm going to laugh a couple times. And it's nothing crazy, but it'll at least get the job done. It pretty much was that. But as somebody, because I think people have very turned on Kimmel. I don't know really why. I think that just happens with almost all late night comedians unless you're Conan O'Brien, right? It says highest grossing since Lord of the Rings. Ah, yes. That makes perfect sense. Like, yes, but that makes sense. Return the King, $1 billion. Okay. I was like, I know there's something in there. So that's good company to be in, right? Chris Evans answered the question I personally asked him, so you're getting his answer. I did like Eternals, but didn't love it. I'm kind of the same page with you. I know she's talented, but I haven't seen anything that makes me say, oh, she directed it, I gotta see it. Yeah, and that's where I am, What are your thoughts on John Cena being naked Oscars? I gave him a little bit at the beginning, Hunter, but I thought it was great. Fantastic skit there, or sketch, whatever you want to call it. Really ballsy, not mean the pun intended, but, and again, he's underdressed a lot in his career, but still, he was a big envelope, but still, that was, and I know they probably got a cock sock on him and everything, but still, that was one thing wrong to having a Janet Jackson moment, but it was the moment of the night. John C is killing it. I'll talk about in GeekVerse. Ricky Stenicki, not a great movie, but John Cena makes that almost passable for me. He's working his ass off, and this is exactly what he should be doing. The comedy stuff, this is where it is. The same way that Batista's meant to be a serious actor. Rock, I think, is meant to be like the Rock Hollywood guy, but we'll see. I hope smashing, whatever it is, works out for him. Cena, when he was in certain roles that were dramatic, it just wasn't working. He can have dramatic beats like in Peacemaker, right? But overall, the character's kind of goofy. I think that's where he's in his wheelhouse, which is so funny because in WWE, the big knock against was he's so annoying because he thinks he's so funny. He was always making kids jokes and stuff, but I thought it was great. Great segment, very funny. I was with Emily. I thought for sure Barry Keoghan was going to come out because his whole gimmick is that he's naked nowadays. So I thought, oh, it's going to be him. And then it wasn't. So, but overall, Kimmel for me, that was the thing where it's he was weaker than usual for me. It felt like a lot of dad jokes and he makes those, but this felt like an abundance and it just felt like very mad jokes. Now here's the thing. Well, it was not as bad Joy Coy at the Golden Globes, so that's fine. That's okay. I think he's done many times. He knows how to host it and everything. But yeah, I think this is just the way the Oscars are going to do it. I think they just want to play it safe. I think Days Are the Gone are a really great host. I'm not saying Kimmel can't do that. It's just he didn't this time, I guess. I think he did exactly what they want him to do, right? But I used to watch Kimmel all the time late night. I liked him. I liked Fallon, even though now it sounds like Fallon sometimes being kind of an asshole or something. I don't know. That's what people say, but people turned on him. I just don't have cable, so I don't watch those shows as much, if any. And Conan's always been my guy, right? So, Colbert, Stewart. Oh God, who's hosting right now? Seth Meyers. Yeah, he's fine. Who's hosting the David Letterman slot now? Oh, it's Colbert. Fuck. Just whoosh. So overall, yeah, Kimmel was fine. I thought the segments for the most part, especially the back half, was really good. I really enjoy two things. One, I think it's smart for them to do a lot of the double categories with the presenters. Get two people out there and have them do adapted and original. I know they've been doing that the past couple of years, but I just feel like they were making effort to do that more so. And the early start time, I think that was good. I don't know what that's going to do for rating wise. Maybe it'll help it a little bit, but the early start time, I liked that. And the good thing was where usually it's for my time 5 to 8, so about 3 hours, right? This was 4 to 7:30, so about 3.5 hours. It was good because there was one point literally Kim was like, "Oh, we have a minute," and even at the end, it felt like Emma Thomas made her speech. Charles Robin made a speech, and no one's made, it was just quiet. They didn't play any music. People, the Oppenheimer cast, were just walking around talking to each other. Usually, it's the music's already playing. We gotta go, but they had like 4 minutes, and they're killing it. Jimmy Kimmel's promoting stuff. I like that. I think they should just go the full Monty and go to 4 hours because I think for the most part, because here's the thing, right? People will say, "Oh, with the because that best picture or the best box office award, whatever, they tried a couple years ago, it didn't work out," right? People say, "Oh, if more of the films people get or if more of the nominated films are the ones people watch, English, are the ones people watch, more people tune in." I don't think that is the case because you have, and we'll see this year, right? And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what the bump is. If it's about the same, that proves my theory right. You have Barbie and Oppenheimer, the two biggest movies of the year. Everyone saw those movies. If there's no big bump or it's about the same, you pretty much just have your Oscars. You had the people that like the dresses, they like the celebrities, they like the award shows, like the cinema legacy, or all of it, right? And that's where I was meaning to start here. And the third is somehow King's Speech? What? I think King's Speech made some bank, I guess. All right, good for King's Speech. Here's my thing. And this is always just, as I've said before, I'm on the Twitter the least amount as possible now. I've many times I've thought about deleting the account, but I never can with GeekVerse, or especially with Adrenochrome. It's like, with us being a small podcast and a small, like now, film production company, you just can't do that now. You got to spread it out there. You got to go. So that's why I take longer breaks. I just have my notifications on for certain things. And then usually about once a day, usually if it's like, if I'm on a break or something, or I'm cooking, I'm killing time, that's when I'll scroll through and say, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" See what a couple of my mutuals think, see what's going on. Oscars and like big events. Definitely tonight I was on more active, fun, interacting, everything like that. But what I get, and I'm not singling people out, if anyone listens, you know who you are. And this is not an addendum. I'm just saying, just accept it. My timeline is always filled with people, come Oscar nominations, of whatever gets nominated, whatever doesn't, the controversies, all here's, but who cares about the Oscars? And I've talked about this many times, I'm not going to go over it, but who cares about the Oscars? And then I see those same people, and I have no problem calling them. I've been on people's shows and called them out before. It's the same people like that bug me that say, "Oh, this is a snub. Did you watch all the people in this category?" No, I just saw the two. And like, well, it's not a snub to you. You didn't fucking see it. What if you watched them? Like, it'd be like me watching The Holdovers, right? Or not watching The Holdovers and it winning, being like, "Oh, well, whatever. Oppenheimer was snubbed. It was snubbed." You watch Holdovers? Well, no. And the reason I say it is because I was not excited for The Holdovers. Watched The Holdovers. I fucking loved that movie. It's in my top 10. Gave it a perfect score. That's a Christmas movie for life, right? So that's why you can't judge until. That's why I never said Margot Robbie was snubbed, because I never saw Naiad. I was really bad on my Oscars this year. I never saw Naiad. I never saw. I was Sandra Hüller. I think she got nominated well too for Zone of Interest, or like Anatomy of Fall, which I want to get those both. I just haven't been had time to sit down and watch a subtitled movie right now, because then you really need to focus on that, right? So that's why the people saying that snub, no. The people that complain about Oscars, and then Oscar night, I see the same fucking people tweeting about it. I don't know. Also, could just be for engagement. Could just be because they're lying. All you gotta say is what everyone else says. We love as film, and that's why luckily we had the GV Oscar pool. I love the Oscars, but the Oscars are not the be-all, end-all. I love, why? Because at the beginning, it's a thing of celebrating film, right? It does get a little pretentious, sure. Or there's some speeches where you're like, I don't know if I would have said it that way, because it just feels like a little, not, I won't say arrogant, but close to, especially when you win. When you win, you want to be humble, you know? And there's a couple speeches tonight where it's like, "Oh, yeah." It's like, "Oh, okay." But at the end of the day, does it really matter? No. You know, like, it's why my perfect example is it's great for Hollywood, for people's careers. Same thing with myself when we talk about Nolan. He should have won many moons ago, probably several times, right? 2010 or 2011, 2009 or 2009. But what I love it is just a general celebration of film, seeing people behind the scenes, just reactions, people hugging, applause for their fellow coworkers, their colleagues, right? And appreciating the craft. Nolan, who's just the fucking king, said the best way that film is just under 100 years of an art form. Imagine when you think about painting, other art forms under 100 years and how much more you could do with it. It's like, man, that's exactly right. That's why for me, it's about the celebration of film, and on the lead up, just like those other films I haven't seen yet, it's about watching stuff because people go, oh, I'm not going to watch this. But it's just like, there's so many movies that like even Oppenheimer won Best Picture, and it shows that, okay, there's still movies out there that you're going to love that might or enjoy that win these things, right? I think some people have a very pessimistic, like, because it's like rich people and it's actors and they're all praising each other, but it's just like, it's their night. And if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's my whole thing. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Don't tweet about it. And if you do, just accept it. You can say, hey, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but I check it out. Because if you say you don't care and you watch it or you tweet about it, you care. If you say you don't care about Rotten Tomatoes and you complain about it, you care. So that's always my biggest thing. It's every year. It's like, my God, like just admit it. Just say, yeah, I like watching the Oscars. Is it be all end all? No, because it doesn't always matter. You know why it's not the be all end all? As I've said before, we'll start with Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan, and I had two of these for this Oscar season that I think I were pretty much Travis. I didn't think I said Travis told you, but like the amount I talked about them, they were Travis told you, okay? Oppenheimer won Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, I don't think it won Screenplay. I think I was wrong on one of them. Yeah, Adapted Screenplay didn't win, but won a bunch, won 4 or 5, right? So for me, I think he should have won years ago because, no offense to the cast, the crew, that film, but no one talks about Slumdog Millionaire, and that's where it is a situation where it won Best Picture. Lots of people loved it, liked it, but did it really change anything with cinema or the Oscars? And no, I'm not saying a film has to do that, right? But that's what I'm saying as far as how I can enjoy it is this is great, but also if the film I think deserves to win doesn't win, if it had an impact or was a great film, still makes a great film. Just because fucking Tarantino hasn't won Best Oscar Director doesn't make any of his films less important to the history of cinema, right? So I think that's why people, they take it as like, if this wins, this is the best, and these things don't matter, Slumdog Millionaire is also top 5 highest grossing. Well, there you go. Dark Knight should have won and would have been the highest grossing. I don't know. Is Dark Knight bigger? I suppose check it. Is that bigger than Lord of the Rings? But anyways, just watch it and admit you like watching it. That's as simple as that. So let's take an ad break. I'm going to take a drink of water and then we'll be back and actually break down the winners. All right, we're back. So let's talk about these winners. We talked about, I just brought up Oppenheimer. Yeah, I just thought like I was somebody that was like not a doubter. I thought, okay, he's going for that Oscar, but like the box office talked about it all before, right? But once I saw the film, to me it was undeniable. We're gonna talk about Dune. Either way, my thoughts. I don't think Dune would have been blocking him. I've seen that so much. Like, well, thank God he moved. Maybe it would have been a hotter race, but the Academy of Sci-Fi, we're lucky we got that first Dune nomination. I just feel like Nolan feels like it's old, right? And it feels very much like, speaking of Return of the King, when that won, there was a sentiment of like, this is winning for all the trilogy, right? And that's what Nolan's like. It's like, of course, it's for this individual film. It's great. I personally think it's the best film of last year. But it just does feel like an overall, like, here it is, right? And you never know how it goes. You can be like Cillian Murphy, nominated for the first time ever, be all these years and go. Okay, Lord of the Rings still would have been higher than Dark Knight. Okay, good to know. And Nolan, I guess he was nominated, but just always in the conversation, right? And I'm of course, people say I'm biased because I love Batman, but there's enough people that talk about how great that film is. I think proves the track record of he should have won for that. He really should. Danny Boyle, Slumdog Millionaire, yeah, it was good. Well directed movie, but like Dark Knight literally changed the game. It literally changed the Oscars. He is the reason, the man, the myth, the legend. He is the reason why there are 10 nominees, right? Or whatever, 8, 9, whatever, like more than 5 now. And how fitting. I think they did this a little bit on purpose because, of course, they know the winners. I'm sure he was always presenting it, but to have Spielberg hand the award to him, because I'm someone that, of course, I've said like, hey, his last few films, I don't think they've been as great as other people have said, but they're still good. And not the type of good like Chloe Zhao good like, oh, like Filmons, I really enjoyed. I don't think it was like when it first came up, like, this is it, Spielberg's winning again. I was like, I don't see that. Like the same way as Killer's Flower Moon, like we'll talk about it, winless. When people were on that train, I was like, I don't see it, and we'll get there. But him for director to hand it over to me, I tweet about it's passing the torch. It's like wrestling. It's from I'm the guy to you're the guy, right? I still think for me, Martin Scorsese, I don't know now. I always said he was the best, and I have to wait till Nolan's whole career is kind of done, right? But I always consider Mario the GOAT, but people consider Spielberg the GOAT. It's like, yeah, it's like 1A and 1B, right? But Nolan, to me, he is going to be the greatest of all time, because like you look at what he's done, this guy really to me has never missed, and he's just changed the genre of cinema multiple times. This was his crowning achievement. It just felt like it was time. The second I saw Oppenheimer, it was time. I never had a doubt. You know, Yorgos got talked about a lot, Alexander Payne a little bit at the beginning, but like I just never had any doubt it was not going to be him, because powerhouse like career, but powerhouse film, right? So it's great. He had one of the best speeches of the night too. He's getting emotional, which is rare to see for Nolan. But yeah, the passing of the torch, that's what it felt like. It felt like, hey, you know, the way people talk about Spielberg now is the way they already talk about Nolan that way, right? Like, and imagine him, man. So happy for him. Spielberg, someone that he looks up to, fan of his work. He was one of the first people to see Oppenheimer, and as a guy growing up like loving film, Spielberg, that's like the BLN, right? That guy handing you your best director award, which many people are like, when's he gonna win? When's he gonna win? That's incredible. So it's just like it was a perfect story all the way around for Oppenheimer. It didn't sweep like I thought it was going to be for the Oscar pool. I will say, I will show if people listen to that. Let me pull it up here. Congratulations to Summer Hansey. She got 21 out of 23. She missed on, I think it was like short documentary and then Best Actress, which we'll get there. Bill should listen to me. But she finished first 21 points. Me, April, Maddie tied at second place with 18 out of 23. S. Bubs was after that with 15. And then Mike and Clay tied for last place. Sorry, boys, with 14 and 23. But very fun. I can't wait to do that again next year. But I should have, the same with actress, I should have went with my heart or my brain with screenplay. I went for the sneak picks with, everyone kept saying American Fiction. I was like, I don't see it. And that's when I was wrong. I thought, and I was also thinking Oppenheimer sweeps. I was like, I was just going Oppenheimer. I was wrong there. And Past Lives, I went for like an underdog pick, you know, and that didn't work out for me. I should have just went with Zone and American Fiction. I should have just followed Golden Derby. So, and even then, I wouldn't have beat Hansy. Right? Yeah, I guess I still would have been one below her. So, congrats to her on that one. She's a reigning champ. I'll take you down next year. Don't worry. Just like, you know, one day, Hansy, we need to finish this Monopoly debate. It's going to happen. We're going to do a games night. Next to the games night's poker, but soon we're going to do Monopoly. I have like a legit, I'm not even like, people are going to laugh. I have like a legit Undertaker 12-year undefeated record. And I'm not the fucking banker. Don't throw that shit on me. I'm like fucking Mike Tyson, okay? I just make the right fucking moves when it comes to fake money. But congrats on the win there. So I should have went with those. And of course I haven't seen any of them, so I can't say, oh, was that deserved or not? No, but I'm going to get to them, I think, eventually. Problem was as well, too, some of these films I would have watched while the kids were home, but the kids not home, but they've been sick lately. So I got a lot of movies to catch up on of the past of 2023 and then the beginning of 2024, but I'm hoping this week. And once my movie's done as well, too, because a lot of late nights I've been editing that, right? So now this week will be coming on, be kind of a sigh of relief of that portion, right? So, but yeah, I think it's arguably his best. It's tough for me. It's that or Dark Knight, Oppenheimer. So it's like, it makes sense he should have won for this. Director, it's by God time. In my opinion, he should probably be like because like who won the 2021 Best Director and what for? Is that King's Speech again? Descendant, Alexander Payne. Oh, funny enough, look at that category. Look at this category in 2020. He wasn't even nominated for Inception. No, I thought he was. Come on, let's see. Oscars. I put in 2021 Best Film and Ides of March comes up first. I like the movie, but fuck. Let's see. 2001, 2011. Am I off a year? I shouldn't be, right? As the best original screenplay, actor leading role. Where is the best feature film? Oh, fuck. I know I'm killing the cast right now. Hang on. Oh my god. Come on, Academy website. Let's see. Film editing. Animated feature. View by film. Oh my god. I can't find it. Someone let me, S-Bubs, if you can, or someone in chat, let me know. Inception, it was nominated Best Picture in 2011. Who was nominated for Best Director? I think I have it here, and it's not known, which I'm surprised. Again, should just won. I'll move off it because I'm just ranting about Oppenheimer. So great to see it win. Downey, same thing. It was kind of funny during Kimmel's speech. I felt like there was a point where he let him have the one joke about his drug addiction pass, and then Kimmel kept going, and he was doing the wrap it up move along, but it did felt genuine, and we've known in the past that Downey he didn't mind talking about it, but at the same time it's just I feel like he feels like he's beating a dead horse, and it has been so long. Once we got 5 years past Iron Man, the whole what a comeback story, even people saying now man, what a comeback story it is, but he's really recovered his life. I think he's just done with yeah, you were a drug addict, right? And I think it's different. He makes a joke about it, and to me his jokes are more clever than Kimmel just this isn't the highest he's been in his career. It's yeah, all right, that stuff I didn't like, and I was kind of more with Downey on that one where it's let's move along, right? So okay, so best actor, Cillian Murphy. That's when I did have doubt because what was I gonna say? Paul Giamatti was great, and I feel like it's very similar in a way where they're kind of performance and career Oscars. It's tough. It's easier when you have, let's say, two front runners, right? And it's a best actor, and both are great performances, but there might be somebody, let's say it's young versus new one. There might be somebody, and if they're equivalent, there might be somebody with that, oh, we want to give them the thank you award. Let's lean that way, right? And with this, they both had that. Let's see, Winner's King's Speech, Winners Can Speak. Yeah, Tom Hooper. Yeah, nominees: Black Swan, Darren Aronofsky, David O. Russell, David Fincher, Joel Cohen, and Ethan Coen. Yeah, so that's a murderer's row. I still actually would just talk about Tom Hooper. What has Tom Hooper been up to since then? And even then, I would have given it to Fincher then too. And that's one where I go, hey. With Social Network, that made a fucking huge splash, and I feel like that was what's his name? Fincher's time to win it. He should have, and it's almost not gave up. I was well, that's it for me. Let's see here. Oh, that's a documentary, but that's one at least where I go, okay, he would have lost to Fincher. That's fine, but let's see, Tom Hooper. What has he been? Oh, didn't he direct? I thought he directed another film that I was meh on it. Let's see, Tom Hooper. No, he did Cats. He did do Cats. He's been in director jail ever since. Oh my god. We gave the guy who did Cats, Danish Girl, Les Miserables. Les Miserables. I know it's yeah, not almost like Chloe Zhao. Not the biggest fan. Yeah, Cats. Yeah, that's. Come on now. But anyways, best actor is pretty equivalent. I thought G Money could take it, but near the end, I was it's Cillian's award. That kind of went away. Whatever. I think he made a good speech. It was great to see. What a great story. I won't call him a character actor, but close enough for Cillian Murphy. Great story of just a guy that's been putting in work for years, finally gets this big movie. Which is funny. Ben Kingsley is he took the role of Robert Oppenheimer with no script. What balls does this man have? Yeah, but it's directed by Christopher Nolan. I think any actor in Hollywood, if their agent said, hey, Christopher Nolan wants you to lead his next film, yeah, sure. They take the pay cut, they wouldn't read the script, all that stuff, right? So, yeah, he hasn't done TV ever since. Trapped for attorney in director's jail for Cass, I think. Yeah, he'll get another shot. He's still an Oscar winner, right? There'll be something, but just not. It's kind of Damien Chazelle, unfortunately, he's kind of in Oscar jail, which sucks for Bab. That is one thing that is scary when he said I'm writing this film, but I don't think it's going to get made because I won't get a budget. Now at that point, there is an argument that he should maybe, if he knows that, I'm hoping he has a version of the script that's not a mega budget, but that's what sucks is you have a guy who, and that's where maybe you feel like King's Speech and everything, Les Miserables, they feel the same way, right? You got a guy that directs these great Oscar Academy Award nominated films and makes a couple things and then it's dead. Fucking Damien Chazelle made Whiplash and what is it? Whiplash and La La Land, man. Like two of the greatest films ever. I don't care. It might be hyperbolic because they're still newer, but like they both have their place in cinema. And because he did First Man, which I think everyone looked as like disappointing, and then some people hate Babylon. It's like it's not over for him, but it is like I don't know if I can what I'm gonna be able to make, right? And that's fucked up. That shouldn't be the case, you know. Apparently, last month he announced he's working on something and he's doing a McDonald's commercial. Cool. Maybe that's his choice. Hey, he's won an Oscar. Great career still. Cats, big miss, but I don't know how he got to Tom Hooper. Oh, right, no, but yeah, great for Murphy. I hope just like Carey Mulligan, I hope Giamatti can get there one day. But that's one thing I've got to say too. I absolutely love the actor categories when all the actors come out. There's 5 of them they present for one person. Really enjoy that. It was fucking super weird because he mentioned this at the Globes, but doubled down. I think the last time they did this was in 2009 when Heath won. And it's interesting because Heath won, and Heath, 2009, wins Best Supporting Actor. He was in the same category with Robert Downey, and the next time someone wins that award in a Nolan movie is Robert Downey. And it was, I'm getting emotional right now. When he said that at the Globes, when he talked about I had to accept that award for Heath, and the first person I saw was Downey. It's like, man, I'm not. As you get older, it's not that like I can't fully say like that everything happens for a reason, because I don't think Heath Ledger should have died for a reason. But I just mean like that whole so much is connected and like that Matrix element. Just like, man, that is fucking crazy that Downey is winning this award and was so connected to that. It was maybe like the runner up there, right? So, man, check out on Patreon. We just did a 2 Hands retrospective. It's a movie that Heath Ledger did with Rose Byrne. It's like a crime movie, very fun. Sam, he became a Patreon producer and recommended it. That's you can do that tier. Like spoiling my thoughts a little bit, but there's a whole hour conversation. Really good movie, and shout out to Heath Ledger, man. Like, such a bummer. Every time I see a movie, it's great to see him, but then it's just always that wash of, man, like we talked about the cast. He would be 45 right now. This guy would still be giving out fucking Oscar performances, you know? Such a bummer, but great full circle. Downey, good speech. I feel like some of his better material has been used elsewhere. That's, I think, kind of the tough thing when people win a lot or they're for sure. Where like you look at someone like Emma Stone, she wasn't for sure gonna win, so I just like that speech felt so like moving and powerful and interesting. So, but great for Oppenheimer, deserves all. Killian, Downey, all that stuff. Let's get to Best Actress. One of my bigger ones. Let's see. I think you guys now have the only review podcast of 2 Hands on the Net. That's probably true because, like I said, we hadn't heard that, right? So, hey, if the people for 2 Hands are looking out, there you go. Same thing, that director. We were bummed that he didn't do anything else. He did a couple things in TV nowadays, but so Best Actress. And this is going to become my last probably addendum on Killers of the Flower Moon. Not that I hate it. Love Scorsese. Still getting like a 4 out of 5 in Letterboxd. Greatly directed. Masterly. There's things about that I really like. Emma Stone won it. That was one of my one coups in the Oscar pool because I think it was like 3 of us picked her and then 4. So other people did, but that was for me like Nolan, where I said he's getting crowned this year. It's happening after Oppenheimer. With Poor Things, I had already thought this. There was 3 kind of signs. There's 3 strike system. I guess 4 strike, right? All the build up to Killers of the Flower Moon and Lily, and I hear all this praise for her performance. She is great. She's the best part of that movie. I think there is a universe where when she is more of the main character of that movie, she wins this award. She could. I still would lean to Emma because I think she has to do so much in that movie. It's kind of like when it came down to Paul and Killian, it's like, okay, both have great careers, both have great performance. I just looked at one, okay, what just felt like maybe harder to do? That's subjective, but to me, Oppenheimer could be a little more harder to do, right? With this, I think they're both equivalent that way. Emma Stone a little bit edge as far as having a harder performance. I think there's tough things like Lily Gladstone got sat on, like laid in the bed for a while and was sick. And there's passage of time. You have to show that, but I still always said you should have montaged that and found a way because it felt like she was missing. And that was the biggest thing. And I had so many people would be, oh, it's Lily and oh, it's this. And, the example all the time, right? And this is where I didn't get it. Many people give me this. Well, you know, and saying this like I'm a fucking idiot who doesn't watch the Oscars more than them, but that's okay. You know, that's fine. And there's the people that didn't say that, I'm sure are above me. I'm saying like the people that said to me was like not as invested in Oscars, and they had a reason to say it, right? They'd say, well, you know, It's like the Aragorn kicked the helmet and broke his foot, right? Anthony Hopkins was only in, Silence of the Lambs for about 13, 14 minutes, and he won. I get it, but he's the clear male lead in that, because I know there's other leads, but he's a clear male lead of his presence, and that's the biggest thing. Silence of the Lambs was a fucking undeniable performance. You could argue best actor or supporting whatever, right? But undeniable. So that's where it's like so powerful. Doesn't matter how much screen time he had. I think Lily had that, but then there's moments where they benched her, and there's moments where, as I've said before, Martin Scorsese says, hey, as I'm writing this film, I realize it's from the white person's point of view, and we got to change that. And then when I saw the movie, it's pretty much from a white person's point of view. It's like same thing as like, I disagree with a few people in our Discord about that. Like, they didn't want to do it because like there's certain ways they don't want to make the cops feel like the hero. It's like, I still feel like the cops feel like the hero. I have many issues with the movie, but I think the movie issues is what led her to not winning here. Even though I still would have given it to Emma, because that performance is, as I'm going to say my other points, she to me is the new street monster. She's Meryl Streep. She is the best. I've said before, like, oh, it's Lupita, oh, it's Florence Pugh. After I fully saw Poor Things, and that was the strike system, right? So Lily had that, and I saw the movie. I was like, this to me doesn't feel like a best actress winning performance in the sense of what they gave, right? Not the quality. She's great and hope to see her more. But I was like, okay, so you have that. I seen these trailers, and already I was like, okay, she's doing something, and I guess I just combined them together, right? That once I saw the movie, so strike one and strike two, once I saw the trailers, like, wow, this is something. And then the movie, it's just like fully backed. She's giving like an all-timer. She's giving like something you're going to talk about forever, as far as like when you're alive, you're like, fucking Emma Stone, Poor Things, right? Like, that was, to me, it just showed she's levels above, because she's doing stuff she hadn't done before, multitude layers. I just watched it again today, loved it. Everything I loved, even the comedy, all holds up. All the issues I have about it being a bit too long. I don't like the husband stuff at the end. There's some cues they give her about with the poor people, and then they move away. Like, there's some inconsistencies, and like I said, it was a little too long. So I still couldn't give that perfect 5. I was kind of hoping on a rewatch I'd give it a 10, but I couldn't. But still, fantastic. It's in my top 5 this year. And I'll watch it many times in my life. Really enjoyed it. So she just gave an all-timer. Lily was kind of, to me, benched, and some of the quality. And I don't know, didn't win a single Oscar. So I feel like it was kind of like, it's Marty. He made something really good. It is an important movie, but at the same time, it doesn't reach a certain level. That was there. And then strike 3 for me was, excuse me. I just remember when I was watching the Variety Actors on Actors with Mark Ruffalo and Downey. And he said the second, and this was the first time I caught it, and then other people started to do it, right? And of course, it's because with Mark's there, so maybe you're just thinking, oh, whatever. But once I heard other people start talking about it, it reminded me of something. He talks about Poor Things, and he's like, the second I saw it, I texted Emma, and I just like, pretty much just like, you're the greatest actor. I could never be as good as you. Your work's remarkable. And he was not the only person saying that. And just like every time, it'd be in other interviews, like other actors, when they're talking about, oh, and there's great performances, and there's Emma Stone, like, oh, Emma's great, like, oh, she's a magnificent, like, it reminded me, I remember there was an interview, red carpet, I don't know where it was, but Cate Blanchett was doing I can't remember what she was nominated for. It wasn't Tar, I don't think. But every year, either she was nominated or just being interviewed or something, right? For Oscar season when Joker was coming out. And they set up some question. I just remember the question not being specifically like, what do you feel about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker? Answer. It was a broad thing, and she just like zoned out and singled in on him. It was just like, he's an actor's actor putting in the best work. And I agree, he should have won that year. Just saying, just praise to high heaven. And I remember I didn't remember hearing as many actors say it about him, but I remember her saying something like, all of us feel that way. And that's where I was like, fuck, other actors are looking at Joker and being like, fuck, that's the one. And when Downey said that about Stone, and other people said that, like similar things, like, oh, I just had to talk to her. That was a performance that other actors were like, fuck, I couldn't do that, because I bet a lot of people don't feel like they could. That's a hard role. Well, I'm not saying no one can just do what Lily Gladstone did. I'm saying she's not replaceable. She was great, but I'm just saying, like, on paper, one is harder than the other, in my opinion, to come off right, not goofy or sink a film. Could be just completely dumb, right? So the fact that so many actors were praising her, I was like, she has it. Now, what's interesting is I don't know if the actors were the ones that got her the win, or it was a situation where they just didn't vote as much during the Screen Actor Guild Award, but is winning a bunch of awards. It's deserved. To me, she is the best in the world right now. As much as I love Pew and Lapita, and there's a bunch of other people, right? Between that and the curse season this year, she has taken some wild fucking swings. She's not resting on her laurels. She's not doing the same thing over. She's not doing just the type of Oscar baity stuff. I'm not saying she had to go out and literally show every part of her. She did, but like I'm not saying that. I'm hoping that's not the reason she won. I don't think it is because like the performance is just like fantastic. I'm more meaning the old school narrative, like, well, if you get naked, you know that's you could get an Oscar. Not that she already has one. She's a two-timer. I legitimately think she could break the record. The record is 3, right? Daniel Day and Meryl Streep have 3. I think Jack has a third, right? I think those are the trifecta. I think she could get to a 4 because she's that damn good. And she's what? It's like those stats, and you're like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence like won her first Oscar at 22. You're like, Jesus Christ, she's 35, man. Anthony Hopkins won an Oscar a couple of years ago at the age of 70. Like, this is like we're just. I think this is maybe the peak of her, but she's just the GOAT. She's fantastic. When they were on stage, I was really like, fuck, I hope her and Nolan work together soon. But it sounds like her and Yoga are still doing a lot, but absolutely deserved. I was happy about that one because I just feel like so many people, I was like, nah, it's Lily. It's going to be Lily. And just like talk down to me like on a fun Oscar way, right? Not like I ever felt like personally like, you're being really mean about this. No, not that. I just felt like people were always just saying like, oh, that's great. You think about that about Emma, but Lily, it's like, I guess, but look at the tea leaves. Divine Joy Randolph. We knew that was happening. Great performance, well deserved. Barbie, What I Was Made For, Billie Eilish won. I think it is the better, more well-written song, but there is a case for me. I feel like especially after the performance, everyone was like, oh, I kind of want that to win now because Gosling, he fucking killed it, man. He killed it. Zone of Interest, Best International Film. Like I said, I hadn't seen it, but that was The Runaway, so it makes sense. And I've said before, I don't really have any interest in Holocaust movies. Seeing more of the plot, I go, okay, I am curious about this one, so I am going to check it out. So that helped me out. Cinematography, Oppenheimer, that was a no doubt one as well. Screenplay adapted was Anatomy of Fall, and American Fiction for adapted, original for Anatomy of Fall. What did I have for original? What was my guess there? Where are you, screenplay? I had Past Lives, right? I was hoping it was gonna make like a surprise, but it didn't happen. Then adapted. I had Oppenheimer just for the soup, didn't happen. Godzilla -1, good for them. I don't know if it was as deserving because just I feel like stuff like The Creator was better, and I just hope it doesn't send a message of like potentially overwork your staff, not pay them, and you get an Oscar out of it, right? Like, I hope it's not a bad precedent, but and then Poor Things taking all the awards that Barbie should have taken, I guess in a sense, but like, especially costume, you would have thought, right? But best costume, best production design, best makeup, hairstyling. Yeah, it's tough, but like all those are deserving. Look at Defoe, those costumes, like I had them all for them just because like it's so unique. My pitch was, maybe people thought this way, Barbie, you still had books, toys, animated movies to work off of. Poor Things, all original from someone's mind, right? Other drawings. So that was my thinking, and yeah, that's about it. I'm not gonna go with the documentary stuff because those were just guesses by us. But yeah, great year. One of my favorite years as far as winners and films. Like everyone that wins deserving. Happy my Trask told you pulled off with Nolan, and Nolan didn't feel as good because like that just seems a little obvious, but with Stone she was very surprised because I don't think she was thinking she was going to win. I think she did think Lily was going to win, and I hope to see Lily back here again. You know, like I would have been fine with her winning. It wasn't that. It's just that I think that the film let her down a little bit. So, which is kind of a shame because it's the one crack. Oh, and The Boy and the Heron with animated feature film. That was another to me, tune my own horn there, but. I just felt like Spider-Verse lost steam. It won that Globe, but I did win the Globe, one of them. But like I just lots of people were picking it. It's like I don't see it. We're in 2018, 2019 Oscar season. It felt undeniable. This felt like there's someone that you can make an argument for, and I just also don't think it's as good as the first one. That's my opinion. So. Let's take a break, and then I'm going to talk about some Dune box office and what I thought about the movie. So we'll be right back. Oh, the long hair, gents and ladies and everyone else, just woo. Getting in the way. Sometimes it looks good though. It's looking pretty messy right now, but starting to get in the way. But I won't cut it, especially now when we're filming something. I gotta film what I need to, and then cut it after. So I'm keeping it. Summer, we'll see. But yeah, Dune, great box. First, I should have said this in the opening. Fuck, but let's talk about it after. But Dune doubled. What was it? Went from 40 to 81 million. Doubled the first to the second. Makes sense. Non-HBO Max. COVID gone, so that's great. And then this weekend, 44% drop. Let me look at the numbers. Did Kung Fu Panda end up beating it? Which is still a little surprising. I thought it could hold a little bit better, but still 44% drop. Really great. When we live it, okay, Kung Fu Panda 58 and Dune Part 2 46. That's not too bad, right? Dune got +3 theaters. Imaginary came at 10 million. Didn't even know it was out. I didn't know it was out until I saw Maddie drop a letterbox review for it. And I was like, really? What is the budget for Imaginary? Can't be much, right? Budget, the 13 million. So yeah, they'll make its budget back. I've heard it's not the greatest, but head shaving for extra live stream, not the afterlife stream. I know you just been spoken, but I'm just thinking the afterlife. It's the afterlife stream. Fuck, man. Do something wrong. I'm doing a podcast for the dead, But yeah, probably. I'll probably do it there. I'll probably do it for that to raise some money. And if not, I guess I'll keep it and then just get a haircut. But yeah, probably for extra life. So I'll probably keep it then. But 44% drop, really good. It already outpaced domestically the first one. So all good signs to me. It's just like a question of where is Warner Brothers and everything like that right now. But to me, if it's doing this much better than the first one and you greenlit the sequel, you better greenlit 3. Maybe they're not doing it because TTY said, hey, it's going to be a minute. So, pardon me. That's fine. I just would like it confirmed that it's just, hey, that's our intentions to make it at some point, right? But I think it's going to happen. Big shout out. I don't think I've tweeted this out either, so I've just forgotten all the ways around. But big shout out to everybody that listened, shared it. 3 days, biggest episode of the year, and it beat every episode last year. So I don't know what the last episode was for 2021, or 2022, but for 2023, beat every single episode with like just a week. I think it was a week. It was maybe just under, just over, but whatever. 7 days pretty much. Everybody listened to it and got us past every episode in 2023. So thank you very much. I'm bummed I couldn't be on the review. It was a fun conversation. Let's do it. And there's a couple too. I was like, oh, I want to make a point there, but I can't. So yeah, just a big thank you to everybody that listened. It's nice because we haven't had like a really, really big episode in quite a while, just because I feel like a lot of those big ones people weren't going to see and disappointing and like, not too much exciting to talk about. We're doing had a bunch of exciting. So yeah, thank you to the boys for holding that down because I was deadly sick. But thank you to everybody listening because that stuff helps when you get downloads, spread like it helps with algorithms. When you download, it's like recommend. It's like, oh, if you don't subscribe to this podcast, this is something you might like. So just a big thank you. I'm very excited to see where it ends up. But after a week, I'm more than happy. Beat every episode last year. So really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. That means a lot just to have those, especially when you don't have one in a while. You're like, man, we ever gonna have a big one? And it helps for creating other shows, helps our payroll, helps paying our fucking taxes. Fucking, what are we at? Like, it's like $3,500 to be paying all our taxes, everything, like just like the work and everything. It comes like small business, man. It's great, but fuck, man, like, ooh, it can be stressful. I've almost finished all of my tax stuff. I did for the business, but not for me personally. But so yeah, thank you for the episode. Is Dune 3 gonna have to happen? I think so. I think it'll just be delayed, but I would like an official announcement to get that going. And would I want it? Where would be my excitement level? What did I think of Dune 2? I specifically, some people bug me, didn't put it on my list for Letterboxd, didn't rate it, didn't tweet about it, because I said, talk about what Trash told you, and I needed to talk about it here, right? So lots of different opinions out there, and I might have a surprising one of just, I didn't think I'd be like talking about potentially failing Dune part. No, I'm joking. I'm kidding. I wouldn't be failing it. I am in the camp of, even if some people might think it's like an overrated take, and for me it's tough to say because it is so new, but it's just like something, for me, I was sitting there and be like, this is one of the greatest films ever fucking made. Like, period. Decade, genre, whatever. This did feel like, when people made the Lord of the Rings comparison, abso-fucking-lutely, man. Like, it had that vibe. To me, it made the first one, which is a great film. You could argue one of the best, better, top 20 sci-fi films. It made that film look like fucking nothing, like amateur hour. And that's not to just like put that down. That's still great. The second one, man, holy fuck. Everything, every cylinder, acting, score, visuals. This movie looks so fucking good. Scene, choreography, cinematography, everything I can name about film. The pacing, it's that perfect amount where it was 2 whatever hours and like a 2:46 something. Didn't feel it. It's like that thing for me we were talking about on Originals a couple weeks ago where like I think I shaved off, or like last month, whatever. Somehow I shaved off about 10 minutes of our film. And we talk about like joking about, director's cut and stuff like that. And I'm more in the sense of, no, like this cut for me is the best one. It's a little shorter, and I didn't think it was going to be that short when we started making it, but and not that short. It's not like it's like long. It's not a short film, but it's just like I thought when I wrote the script and we film it, I was like, oh, it's at least looking like maybe like an hour and a half or something. It's not that now. I think it's closer to an hour, pretty much when all said and done. Hang on, I'm wiping the camera because I got spit on it. Not gonna lie, that's what happened. Shot, projectile. So. Because it sucks. We hear there's stuff that they cut, but that was something where it's 2:46. I could keep going and stay there. That's one of those things where the long movie is moving. It's great. And so spoilers for Dune, but I'm not going big time, but just certain plot points. I think this is one of the best. Like what they did with Paul Atreides. I know you can't do the exact same, but what they did with Paul Atreides here is exactly what I would have wished happened with Anakin Skywalker. The way they ruined for me some aspects of Darth Vader's character. This was like, oh, if I got to see that done correctly, right? And what I love about this is like it's a complete gray area tale. It's like a what would you do, right? Because I've seen that so many times and people are talking about, because I knew it was kind of going that way, but people talked, I think, a little spoilery about like, oh, he's that sort of, he has that arc, right? Which I didn't know he for sure would get that, but going in like, okay, it sounds like that's happening. The whole time I'm watching, I'm like, I fully agree with him here, Now, don't get me wrong. People are like, what are you saying, Travis? There's a certain point, right? Because the first movie, his dad talks about, leading, right? And it's, you don't choose the lead, like leading chooses you pretty much, right? Like it finds your way. Where he, to me, does get chosen to lead by the Furman, to lead, to free them. He gets chosen to lead the fight back, to kill the Emperor, to, kill the Baron, all this stuff like for revenge and to get back Arrakis, right? That to me is like where he's in the right, where he's chosen lead. Where he's not is at the end where it's like, hey, they don't accept you as Emperor. And it's like, we're going to fucking war and kill a bunch of people. Even though, yeah, that's what I like, where it's not black and white where you go, fuck, he's just a bad guy now. No, why wouldn't these houses meet with him? Why didn't they fucking look into the fucking whole, oh God, what's Paul? I forget Paul's line, like bloodline and everything like that. But like, they get massacred and no one takes a glance. So it's just like, of course you don't want to be going out just killing people, but it's like no one's doing anything about what's happened to House Atreides, right? It's just like, it's so good. And that's where it's like, for me, I like, it's tough. Like, again, all these personal stuff. I believe in the death penalty. So at the beginning, when it's just like, all they're doing is just killing like the Arkan people and the people specifically that fucked up his family. I'm someone like, yeah, fuck it, kill them all. Like I don't, they don't need to do prison time for me. They massacred your people, everybody, men, women, children. Like they fucking need to go. Now that's where it comes down to, why do you need to be the Emperor? Like you just kind of wanted revenge, right? And to bring your house back. I think there's even a way, but you being so aggressive wanting war, that's where it's like, whoa, you're going too far. That's the perfect type of villain story, right? Is you're with them until you're not. So you're like, oh, it's too far. And even now, I could still semi-understand when the houses are like, nah, fuck you, man. Like, we're not going to even listen to you. You go, all right, fuck this. Take down the whole system, right? Again, I think he's going to go more on the route that, maybe you shouldn't do that part. But I thought all the layers are great with all the characters, all the different situations were fantastic. Austin Butler, man, holy fuck. I loved the voice. Sometimes it sounded a little goofy like Bane, but that's what I wanted. I love they try to make themselves kind of sound like a version of Stellan Skarsgård, but I'd heard that. I'd heard the comparison of, Joker, Anton Chigurh as like, all right, like Austin Butler's a really good actor, but that is putting a lot on this. And I didn't say it was wrong. I was just like, okay, that's high expectations. I don't know. I'd have to do a Tress told you the top 10 cinematic villains. I don't know if he's in the 10, but I don't know if he's not in the 10. I think he's definitely top 20, top 25. He fucking delivered, man. He was a scary villain. I love that portion of just, it's his mini origin. I love that they showed his fucking weak points with women and Leah Sadu in this fucking scene from like a romance novel. It was like they show this powerhouse, but still ways you can take him down. I love that the second that happens, interaction, then they go away and she's pregnant. It literally just shows like what they're doing to Fane. Is I think his name Fane, or I'll just say Austin Butler because I forgot the name. What they're doing is exactly what they did to Oscar Isaac years ago. That's why I always was surprised in the first. Like, oh, I should have married you. She just met him. Jessica just met him. Probably fucked him. Got a kid and said, oh yeah, we're in love. But just played on his insecurities, his weaknesses, right? So that's what I love, because I've seen some people be like, oh, there's stuff in here that I didn't get why it was in there or wasn't needed. To me, that was like a perfect allegory to show like, this is what they do. This is how they get their hooks in everybody. And this is exactly what happened to Paul's dad. Like all that little stuff, that portion there, the black and white, the natural lighting, that's good. All the stuff with the Baron and like Dave Bautista, which I was happy is in it more, the kissing of the feet, your embarrassment to us, all this villain stuff was good. It's just, it was, people have said before, like before the first one, like Dune is Game of Thrones in space. Absolutely, that's what that was. And somehow they pull it off with like, to me, all stories they did have and being like a Game of Thrones in a under 3 hours, what a fucking achievement. You know, just very, very good. Some of the big action scenes, the battle scenes, fantastic. At first, I was not disappointed, but I was surprised the ending. Like, oh, it's gonna be very Helm's Deep, but then it wasn't. But it kind of fit the story as far as they were kind of, what is the word? Underestimated, and they planned all right, planned all out right. And Paul can fucking see the future at times, right? So, Timothée Chalamet always been great, really good league here. But fuck, when he was doing this whole speech about being the chosen one and stuff. Yeah, man. Like, I'm not saying that was Oscar worthy because I think like that was like, I think he has some really great like best. I think he has best actor scenes, but I don't think that the whole performance is best actor. And even the nominee, I don't think he would get there because I think overall there'll probably be more. But who knows? We'll see what the feel is like. But he was great. At least for me, he's like locking a Golden Geek nomination. And if we have 5 performances better than him, then it's like, man, fantastic. Like that's a great year. But yeah, he just, I'm not gonna say leveled up, but it's just like he's getting better and better. So he is fantastic. Zendaya, really good, like great kind of hard ass at times, but like sweet and understanding and just like kind of almost puppy dog love with Paul, but not in the sense that she's gonna sacrifice her morals, which I appreciate. I think there was some times where you go, hey, like, why are you against this? Like there's no way out. I know she doesn't want to kill and doesn't want Paul to become a leader, but there's times where it's like, okay, once they're shooting your home, it's like, you kind of got to be with the kill plan, right? Like, there's only so much you can do. Like, they're going to extinct you. It's you or them, right? But I think that's just to show Chani's kind of just like, not innocence, but in a sense of just trying to leave the absolute emperor ruler, also powerful Paul as the very last option and don't want to get there. And that scene, when she realizes, because he says kind of goodbye, and he's gonna marry Florence Pugh, and it's that 3-way of he's in the middle and they're looking. And I just love each time he's saying something, doing something, he looks back at Chani and just like doesn't want to do this. It just would pretty much just be like, and hey, if you're into that, great. But if you're not into that, like this certain scenario of you're watching the person you love fuck somebody else, and they keep looking back like, oh, like I don't want to do this, but like, I gotta, and that's what it felt like. And this was like a deeper level, of course, right? But yeah, it was fantastic. I have no, if it's cons, it's like what I've said before, where it's minor stuff where I go, oh, like I heard the boys bring up on the review where, hey, they didn't show, they would have liked to seen how did Butler find their base and take them all out. So like he just kind of knew, right? And it's like, yeah, but I didn't need a whole scene of, oh, we talked to a guy and I put my finger in the air to know which way the vermin live. Like, I just took it as he told them, I'm going to go do everything in my power to find these people, kill them. And that's what he's doing, right? Where Batista will sometimes seem scared, seems like he wasn't as motivated, seemed like it felt like he was doing good enough. Butler is full on, no, I'm going to fucking take these people out. That's my job. And here we go. Even that girl out there got flamethrowered. That's why I wanted to chime in the review. It's like, no, they said she was like a spy staying back for information. Like the plan was for her to stay back and give info out, right? Be like, hey, they're being attacked. We can't go back here. But unfortunately, she got caught and just fucking flamethrowered for pleasure. Yikes. But yeah, it'd be like minor stuff, but it's I hate to show my cards, and it doesn't even matter, right? Because same with the Golden Geeks, you can go listen to the winners. My favorite film last year, still Saltburn, but to me the best film was Oppenheimer. Same thing as last year. My number ranked film was Batman, but Everything Everywhere All at Once got my vote, right? So maybe there will be something technically greater, but I don't see it. For me, I'm already like locked for Golden Geeks for like a lot of them. It's like Dune, man, like that has the fucking juice, the sand juice, but it's got the juice. And yeah, everyone was great. Even if they're small roles, great stuff. Even Walken, I didn't mind because people, of course, joke like, oh, he steals the accent. But with him being the emperor and almost like aloof, a figurehead, and being like off by himself, I didn't mind if he like talked a little differently, you know? So yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was everything I wanted and more. It's just one of those experiences of when you're sitting there like an Oppenheimer, Barbie for like a fun factor, but like a Dark Knight, we're talking about Inception, even Everything Overall at Once. Like those are some recent examples, but when you're sitting there, nothing better when you're like, fuck, like I might be seeing one of the greatest films of all time, whether it's part of a genre, the director's filmography, or just in general. Yeah, that thing. There's just times where I'm like, man, so impressed by Denis and the whole crew. So yeah, love Dune. Hope we get that third. Can't wait. So let's take our last ad break and talk a little bit of wrestling. So we'll be right back. All right. So let's see. What do we want to talk about first? Let's talk about WWE a little bit. Hey, on the road to WrestleMania, shaving up good. Like what? I don't have much to say as far as like I'm trying to think of the things to catch up on, but like I think they're doing a good job setting it up. You know, setting up certain matches. I think stories for the most part are good. I know people have this theory that they cooled back on Asuka and Bailey, so people don't, what is it? Io and Bailey, so people don't want that as the main event. But it's just like I guess. But I feel like no matter what, even if it was super hot, Rock and Roman in the tag are main eventing, right? So, no, and I don't watch fully weekly, so it's just like the bigger things. I have been watching anytime it's Cody, Seth, Roman, or Rollins. I watch those segments. Rollins very 50-50 week for him. The diarrhea thing, not great. I know the crowd chanted it out, and I know what he was going for, right? He was trying to do the mockery of, oh, well, Dwayne will say these comedic, really cheesy high school or like kindergarten bits. I'm going to do that. But I think he should have been more over the top, making it feel like a real, like, isn't this guy dumb? But it just felt like he was going for it. So that sucked. But then on Friday, he fucking delivered. 15 Rollins was knocking at the doors. I'm still in there, you know, because I love that Rollins. That is the Rollins. I'm so tough because I love Seth Rollins. I love the actual, like, who I assume the guy is, as far as what I've seen in interviews, his morals and values in wrestling. We see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. I just don't love the fucking visionary guy, right? And I feel like he did that just because he felt like all these other flashier gimmicks were getting pushed. I needed to do something. I got the song, but for me, it's just at times, even like I know it's part of the gimmick, but even when he came down in that outfit and everyone else is looking the way he does, just like, this doesn't look like you fit. But I still want him in there because I want him to get that main event. He can deliver in the ring and stuff like he did this moment on Friday. Like, you had your moment. It's our time. Stop living your midlife crisis. Like, he fucking came to play and he was the most serious. So Seth, who knows? Maybe no more diarrhea lines, or maybe work on the delivery of it. Rock still doing good, going rambling a little bit, getting them over time. That was a silly error of theirs, so they give them only 15 minutes. We all know they'd go long. They should have just given the last 45 minutes and maybe take a break here or there. But yeah, it was, But I'm enjoying the Rock. I think same thing at 50-50 where this week was better. It was okay. Press conference, he turns. The first week when he came out, fantastic. The second week, I think he was being too charismatic, you know? And there's shades of that still with this week where it's like, it's tough. Like, it's like he fully can't pull back or go forward on being 100% a heel, right? And that is the Rock. I'm not saying he can't be entertaining, but there's just some stuff where he's still showing his goosebumps. It's like, why are you showing that? You're a heel. Like, if you're getting booed, well, who gives a fuck about your goosebumps, right? But overall, it's passing, and it's good. I'm enjoying it. I just wish he would pull back a little bit on maybe some of the rockisms that he has, and maybe it's just so much as like including the crowd in them, right? But overall, I'm liking that story. Cody, delivering as usual. Great, on the mic, and we're still rooting for him. The only one, that's why I don't have much to say about all WWE. So this is probably my overall point. My overall one, they gave him some mic time. I'm not going to say he's hurt, but the only one I'm worried for a little bit is, I guess, Rollins with diarrhea. But like with Roman, there is times where it feels like he's being overshadowed. And I think what sucks too, and what I desperately need is what sucks is I feel like this drama right now, we're still about a month away. We're under a month. So we need it. It's kind of because The Rock's back, and that was the plan to do Rock and Roman. They pivot. They're going to do this tag team match. Oh, sorry. They pivot. They're going to do this tag team match. For me, it feels like the tag team match is getting more of the press than the Roman match. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it will be big night of. I think they're going to be doing a lot of shenanigans. But before we get to WrestleMania, if we don't get a just solo Rock and Cody promo, because that's what it's about, right? Sure, tag team match, pride, fight each other, get the stip. But the fucking real main event of WrestleMania, because like I said, Sunday's the real main event. Whatever they say about night one. For the real main event, it's Cody versus Roman, part 2, to finish the story. And I think it's getting like a little lost. It's kind of like what Roman said. They did the acknowledgement last week, which was good, and some tension with Rock. But there's some people that said like almost the second Rock shows up, Roman feels like the little brother, right? And you don't want that. So I do want them to establish like this tag team match is huge, but you know what's fucking bigger either way is this fucking title match. And it's like, that's why I feel it's getting a little lost. I had that realization in the middle of the ring on the promo. I was in the middle of the ring. When they were doing that promo, I was like, oh, like this isn't really about that title anymore. And then they bring up the step, like, okay, they're trying to tie it in, but I hope that they find a better way to now, or even if it's just 1 week that's about that, to signify, hey, it's still, this is the biggest prize, right? But we'll see. They accept the stip tag team match. Seth and Cody versus Rock and Roman. People did point out like it looked like Cody was upset that Seth maybe accepted it. Of course, just storyline wise, so I'm excited to see where they go there. I think Cody's going to eat the pin because I think he's going to win the next night. So that's going to happen. I don't think it needs a main event. It will main event. I would prefer Io and Bayley just for Bayley to get that because all the other horsewomen main event WrestleMania, she hasn't. And I still think like tickets are going to be sold. The reaction's still going to be there. Like, people will still be excited for the tag match wherever it was, right? Even if it was opening. So we'll see. And then AEW people, that's been the big thing with AEW, right? Are they back? They going to get on the hot streak? We'll see. We'll talk about that. I'm very excited he just watched S-Bob's last week. He watched the Sting, like some of the Sting pay-per-view, and now he's getting into it and stuff. So I'm very excited because I thought it was going to be longer. I thought he was going to have to pull his arm. But this is a good time to be catching on and watching or coming back. They had that lower rating this week, which sucked because it was Ospreay's first thing, and you never know with wrestling ratings. I feel like sometimes a show that's just mediocre does great in the ratings, and then a show coming off Revolution, which for the most part, I'd say like from like wrestling community, felt like an 85 out of 100 for positivity, like even higher. Like I just felt like maybe not. It was like the Gray's pay-per-view or like every match was 5 stars. No, but it just felt like between Sting and other things, it was like a close enough to a home run, so that usually you think it would spike your ratings, but I guess not. I like. What is it on an upswing? Like people are putting out there. It could be. It's tough. It's not in the sense of again, people are very doom and gloom. I get it, right? I am fucking so sick and tired of the algorithm every once in a while just recommending me a picture of like, look, Okada's having his first match and half the arena's empty. Yeah, they're not having the crowds they are. But like they're still fucking selling like, what is it? We'll get their ass bubs. It's still like fucking big business on Wednesday. It's like going to be almost like a 6,000-7,000 gates. Like, it's still pretty good. It's not like the gate they had last time. It's still sure 2,000 stuff. If you want to be high, they got to get that up. But like still with like the AEW Revolution, it is Sting's last match, but they still sold out the 16,000. They still have like a 50,000 show coming up and all in, and no matches announced. Like, it definitely is down, but it's not to the point that people make it out to be. Hopefully we get some of this TV deal soon, but it was weird that it went down a little. But is like the upswing? It could be. I think it really could be at some point where you have all these new guys, and if they stick around and a lot of people come back from injuries, that's when we'll be really cooking with juice right now. Cook it with oil, whatever you want to say, but we'll say cooking with juice. That's when you're gonna get. They already have a stacked Uber roster, so Espo says, yeah, according to Tony Khan, it was the greatest wrestling pay-per-view of all time. No, I don't think that. I think there's aspects. If he were to say greatest retirement, sure, I'd have to think about it, right? There's certain retirements that I would have put above it, but because the people have come back, it lessens them. So maybe, hey, one day me and David can do like a top 10 retirement matches and get you to watch them, S Bobs. If we have time, I'd love to do like the way comic book versions used to do, or like what, like see out the shows. Like if we ever did bi-weekly or weekly, I'd love to have like a match of the week and we all watch it and talk about it. But there's always lots of news, so that's a high hope to think. But yeah, wrestling greatest pay-per-view all time. That's a bit stretched. Tony does that, right? Tony at the pressers, he over embellishes things, and he'll always never get a straight answer. Big, want to give us a serious personal answer about this reported issue backstage? Well, it's really great and it's tough, and we look into it, or there wasn't much there. There's just lots of people to say a lot of things, but we had a great show tonight, and then we had a better show tomorrow, and we're gonna have a show after that, and we're all, don't forget, Full Gear is coming up, and don't forget, he's great at deflecting to the point though now where it's not great anymore. But I digress. Sting's retirement. Perfect. That's something where it's like, that's up there. The Suns was so good. I've joked about this before, but they need to sign them, get them in development, call them the Stingers. I know they don't want to wrestle, but the one guy the guy, I think his name was Gary, was dressed as All-American Sting or Surfer Sting. That was like, fuck, like you put on some weight, good guy, like muscle weight, like you looked the part. And then the guy played Wolfpack Sting. I was like, fuck, like get him a contract. Look at these leaps. Look at these splashes he's giving out. Like, this is some good shit right here, right? But not to be the case. But great moment. The Darby spot. Oh, fuck. I'm not going to go. I do this sometimes. I do this when they're older. Like, when Sting jumped off shit, I'd be like, please don't do that. I don't want you to get really hurt. I don't want anything worse than that. Darby, because he's a younger guy, I can't, I don't say that. It's like, well, you got your choice with Sting, a little bit older, and if you're jumping off into the arena, it's like, one person doesn't catch you. Is it over for you? I don't know, right? But, so yeah, I didn't talk about the pay-per-view. Pay-per-view was really good, though. Not greatest all time, but really, really good. One of their better ones. I think one of their strongest one in the past a while, maybe since All In, because I really liked All In. Sasha's coming next week. Mercedes, that's going to be exciting. I agree with people to the extent, like, I do think she will back in WWE, but it was odd for her to say it in that moment in the podcast thing. They like took it down and edited it back up or something. I think it's still there, but I just mean like I think they did that to like not make it trend as much or spread around. I don't know, but either way, I forgot my train of thought there. But let's see. Yeah, Darby, he can do what he wants. That was a fucking gnarly spot when he hit, and then the right way he rolled his back on that glass. Man, that guy is fucking crazy. He's climbing Mount Everest. I legitimately hope he makes back. Like, people do die there. And I think people say it's like the biggest, Yeah, Darby saying might be his last match. Oh, right, that's what I was saying. Was the Sasha with the... She said on a podcast, and they took it out, and there's a video version, I don't know, but like, I'll be back to WWE one day. And it was an odd thing to say right before the big debut. I will give it that, because it does feel like she literally in her mind could be talking about like, hey, I might be inducted to the Hall of Fame in 30 years. But it did feel like, well, I'm going to get a paycheck here and come back there. So maybe not the greatest, but I am very excited for that. They're loading up that show. Okada's wrestling on it, which we'll get to in a second. They got a title match, which that's an interesting one. So... Darby saying Big Biggest might be his last match because of Mount Everest was definitely an interesting promo. Yeah, Darby, he is, if we're doing like letterbox scores for promos, it's tough because I think sometimes he's like a 4. Maybe the odd one like a 4.5, but then most of the time he's like a 3, where it's like passable and good. Where this promo had like a lot of heart. He was saying stuff like maybe because he felt actually that way, like he could die. But there's times where he's really good, and then there's times where it's like, oh, I'm Darby, I'm gonna kick your ass, and it just feels like, man, where'd that promo go that you've been dishing this out, right? But I really like Darby. He has a unique look. I was wrong because I thought he was gonna be the champion after Max. I thought it was gonna go. I was right up until Max. Or as Punk. I thought it was going to go Jericho, Omega, Hangman, Punk, and then MJF. And obviously Punk left, so you had MJF Mox get the title, and that made him get the title and stuff. That was supposed to be Punk, we all know, right? So I had the first 5 champions locked down. Once he became a babyface MJF, I was like, fuck, I don't know. Because I always thought Darby will be the next one, and if not Darby, Jungle Boy. And I don't think it's going to be either. Well, it wasn't either of them. It was Samoa Joe, right? And then that probably was going to be Adam Cole if he wasn't injured. So I was off after the first 5, but, you know, can't win them all. But I really like Darby. He's unique. He's different. I do think... I think that the whole debate about like, hey, should he have done it? Should he not? To me, that is the time to do it if you want to, because it's a bigger match. To be a little selfish for him, it's like, well, if people go back and watch Sting's match ever, he's on it doing this crazy spot, and it's his body, right? He can decide. Now, that being said, the whole his body thing, many wrestlers told many people, hey, you don't want to do that, you know. Like it's like GM mode. I got a pre-injury card for you. And then they do it, and then they get injured, and then it kind of fucks thing up. So I'm just getting a drink of water. I should have said that. So, yeah, I think Darby can be something. I think he already is, right? But I'm just curious to see the follow-up, and I guess we got to see if he can win Mount Everest or climb Mount Everest, whatever it may be. So that was good. Okada being in here, very happy about that. Just because... Okada, like it's similar to Nakamura, where Nakamura started good and now it's just been like he's gone so far downhill. I don't want to see him, you know, there's debate back and forth, but there's some rumors Okada's getting a pretty fucking big penny, right? But Okada, like, there's so much still for him to do in AEW. So many storylines unresolved. Think about him and Kenny. That's like a big one. There's other ones as well. There's other moments like when he faced down Pac on Saturday. It's like, fuck, man, like Okada versus Pac, like for me, it's the wrestling base. I know Okada's going to be able to get a 20, 30-minute match. He can get a title match. If he's in a title match, he probably get an hour match, right? And that's why, because Tony Khan, I think, I don't know what Triple H would feel about him, but I feel like the big New Japan guys, Tony really respects and loves and wants to do stuff for them and like make a good career for them. Jay White, Kenny Omega less extent, but still, Kenny Omega when he was signed, and then what was the other one? Okada, right? So he's getting all his talent. Loved the heel turn. I thought that was smart because he's been stuck in Japan. And Okada is like, and S-Bubs, you're in the chat, maybe other people. Okada's going to get a lot of hype, and you might see a couple matches go, oh, what's the hype? But like it not took me a while, but it took me a couple months where I watched when I stopped at WWE in the terrible years of like 2017 and 2018. Went to New Japan, started watching, and I heard Kenny Omega all about him. Watched the matches. The first New Japan match I ever watched was the Omega versus Okada. I was like, holy shit! And I knew Okada could go. And it's not like he's gonna be a great promo here, but there was just something not clicking for me at the time. It felt very much like early John Cena. And then he went on a couple runs. Like, fuck, man, Okada, he does have the goddamn goods. He's everything that people say. So that's where I think it's smart because. Or sorry, I should say the heel turned smart because they were never going to turn him heel into Japan really to get booed a terrible amount. I don't think, at least if it was something very short term. But the heel turn is great because I just feel like he's been stuck as a babyface for so long in Japan. Why not get those boos? He wants to do something different, learn his craft a little bit. So, yeah, I'm very interested in. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat here. I'm very interested in the story, especially when Kenny gets back. Hangman, after they suspend him, if he gets back, I think he should beat Eddie Kingston for the Continental Championship and then hold it to the next one so he can go in the tournament. But like I said, for people that don't know Okada, you might be like, oh, I don't love it yet. Or you like, what's the big deal? It will click eventually. He can be fucking phenomenal. And that's the thing where for me, of him being a good wrestler, a great wrestler, I think these are going to be better for him because there's just more options to, like I said before, go out there and have a 25-minute match. Great. Let's go do it. We might pick it out somewhere else. So, but yeah, heel Okada, I thought it was a great twist with the Young Bucks, with the Elite now, all good stuff. Is there anything else that's happened? I don't think so. I don't think a major point. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there. But yeah, the next time you hear me talking about wrestling, which will be later this month, will be with the cohorts. My new ones, S-Bubs and David. I'm very excited to have them on here. Like I said, I think we all like the same stuff in a way of sense of like, we're cool with each other, be friends, could hang out. But I think there's a lot of takes that we're different on as far as how do we view wrestling, right? So we will see about that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I promise when you hear from next, it'll not be boring.